So Chennedy Carter is a player for nobody right now. Absolutely nobody. She is not playing basketball, and we've now got a situation where we've got one of the 15 best players in the world just not in the league.
After Carter's behavior toward Caitlyn Clark backfired spectacularly, the Chicago Sky made the surprising overnight decision to replace Carter with Ariel Atkins, sending a message to the entire WNBA that your talent doesn't matter if you're toxic to the club.
Is good. Chennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench.
Discuss a career narrative twist. Once a top shooting guard, Carter's competitive fire turned into personal antagonism, especially against Caitlyn Clark. What seemed like isolated clashes turned into a pattern, forcing the Sky to make a brutal business decision, looking for a replacement. Carter went from starting guard to jobless in an instant after learning on social media that she had been replaced.
Too good, but I'm here to tell you, dog, we all should have seen this coming from Chennedy Carter. I don't want you to hear y'all. I don't want to hear nobody saying people picking on her. She made her bed, now she got to lay in it, bruh.
The Skies had seen enough. There had been no exit interview or conversation, just a quick choice to go on. Carter's well-known declaration that she had no regrets about anything only served to highlight her lack of self-awareness and demonstrated her unwillingness to make changes behind the scenes. Her actions were poisonous. They damaged the team dynamic and even had an effect on recruiting, as players avoided Chicago due to the scandal. Ultimately, the players made their own decision. The mayhem was not worth the talent alone.
I don't know why people be so surprised. Oh my God, Chennedy Carter deserved a play. Why? Did y'all forget all of the events that transpired last year with her and Caitlyn Clark? And then she refused to own up to what she did. What organization want to deal with that?
Sky created a total cultural overhaul. When they searched for a replacement for Carter, they were looking for the anti-Carter, and Ariel Atkins is the ideal candidate. Carter's scandal overshadowed her talent, and Atkins represents discipline and unity at a time when their former guard was making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Atkins has established himself as one of the Chicago Bulls' most esteemed pros.
The Chicago Sky finally replaced Chennedy Carter with Ariel Atkins, and I am using this as my opportunity to extend an olive branch to the Chennedy Carter brigade. The Ken folk, I believe you guys call yourself. I am taking this as an opportunity to reach out my hand and say greetings.
You understand why Atkins is such an excellent substitute. Her attitude to the game changes teams, and her basketball IQ is off the charts. She combines leadership skills that improve locker rooms with defensive ferocity that coaches aspire to. Atkins recognizes that the purpose of basketball is to uplift those around you, not to further individual goals.
That you bring to recovery and staying smart and drawing that line between physical and mental. Atkins corner pocket from 3 goes. Evening, a 35% shooter from range, so we've got to honor her in all 3 levels on the defensive end. Atkins hanging and fades, but nobody.
Have you already sensed the change in the energy? Atkins sets the bar high with her diligence and upbeat demeanor. Her presence alone has altered the entire environment of their organization. The contrast is remarkable. She's like a surgeon eliminating what was destroying the team cohesion.
Well, I think this is a great move for the Chicago Sky, in my personal opinion, because look at it. Now you got Courtney Vandershoot, you got Angel Reese, you have Kia Nurse, you have Camila Cardoso, you adding Ariel Atkins, and you got Rebecca Allen over there, and I think they're going to be really good this year. Now for DC, they're going to try to rebuild this thing and try to get back into the winning situation here.
This move sends a very clear message to all players in the league who believed that going after celebrities like Caitlyn Clark was a way to gain attention. Teams are keeping an eye on you, taking notes, and they will throw you out if you prioritize your personal grudges over team success. In essence, the Sky is saying, "This is what we value," and the fan response has been explosive. While Carter's fans argue she wasn't given a fair shot, the organization made their calculations, and Sky supporters are cheering because they see Atkins as the professional presence the team sorely needed.
It genuinely seems like it's a awful situation for her, and it's like, as much as like Chennedy Carter, yeah, she fought a teammate, plenty of WNBA players.
Looking ahead, the Sky is betting that addition by subtraction will improve team chemistry, even if Atkins doesn't match Carter's raw scoring ability. It's like removing a splinter sometimes, and healing only begins after you remove the thing that's causing the pain. The team avoiding Carter isn't just about the Clark incident. It's the culmination of a troubling pattern that no one is talking about. You think it sounds professional to want to physically fight your own teammate during a game? That's exactly what happened with Carter and Courtney Williams at the Atlanta Dream, and it's just the first domino in what could be the most self-destructive career path in WNBA history. Let's go back to the beginning. Carter's problems date back to her early years with the Atlanta Dream and weren't just caused by Clark.
On the bench, people were cheering for her teammates. She seemed very disengaged and just kind of like not caring. So Courtney Williams goes up to her and says, "Hey, come on, cheer for your teammates, be a part of this team." And then ensues an altercation between the two where Chennedy Carter was sent to the locker room mid-game, of which afterwards, after the game, this is what has been reported. I guess Chennedy Carter wanted to fight Courtney Williams, like physically fight Courtney Williams, who backed away from this and was like, "No way."
This is where it gets really interesting. The Atlanta Dream didn't even try to resolve the issue. Instead, they traded Carter to the Los Angeles Sparks, effectively saying that this issue is now someone else's headache. They suspended Carter during the season, citing her actions as detrimental to the team, which is code for you're destroying our locker room.
She ended up playing a lot less minutes there, and the reasoning that the Sparks were saying that she was playing less minutes was because of poor conduct, and that was the 2022 season. Then in the 2023 season, the Sparks just decided to release her in the offseason.
Furthermore, despite her evident talent, how did Carter react to this new beginning with the Sparks? Did she learn her lesson? Did history repeat itself almost instantly? Carter's minutes with the Sparks continued to decline game after game, and the team wasn't subtle about why. They either explicitly stated that poor behavior was the cause, or, when you consider that a team publicly acknowledges that they are benching one of their best players due to behavioral issues, they simply fired her, making her the second WNBA team to essentially say, "We don't care how talented you are, you're not worth the drama for a league with only 12 teams." Burning bridges with two organizations ought to have served as a stark reminder, but Carter didn't seem to take any lessons from it.
None of the teams were willing to pick her up after that, so she ends up going over to Turkey, playing in Turkey, of which she...
The part that makes this whole situation even stranger is that Carter left the Sparks to play abroad in Turkey, where she dominated and averaged almost 50 points per game. Her reputation had gotten so bad that even her incredible performance abroad couldn't erase it, and the numbers were so amazing that teams should have been lining up to sign her.
So she was signed to the Chicago Sky with Teresa Weatherspoon, with Angel Reese, with Camila Cardoso, and, you know, the rest of the folks. And then
When the Chicago Sky finally made the decision to take a chance on Carter, it was her fourth team in as short a time as the WNBA. In a league as small as the WNBA, bouncing around that much is practically unheard of, especially for someone with Carter's scoring ability. It's like waving a giant red flag that says "Warning, locker room disaster ahead." When people act shocked about the Chicago Sky cutting Carter after the Clark incident, they're missing the bigger picture. This wasn't just one push. It was the last straw in a lengthy pattern of self-destructive behavior. Carter's actions haven't simply cost her a team or a bridge. She has also systematically alienated 4 different WNBA organizations, all of whom concluded that her off-court talent wasn't worth the hassles.
this was originally ruled an away from the ball foul, but it was obviously a flagrant foul. It really upset a lot of people, which really escalated the issue. And it was really just poor sportsmanship on Kennedy's part, to be completely honest. And she really didn't deal with the backlash very well either, really firing on all cylinders on social media.
And just like that, Carter's once bright WNBA career is now fading faster than a fading star. The harsh reality is that no team is interested in her, and her talent, which once had everyone talking, is now totally overshadowed by her reputation. Consider how far things have fallen when a player of her caliber can't find a single opportunity in
conversations about the franchise's future, and there has not been a peep about anywhere that she could be landing in this free agency.
Her narrative now acts as a warning label for every player watching the lesson, as the foreign road is becoming Carter's only option as doors throughout the league close. What does it take to stay indispensable in today's team-first environment? While talents may help you get in, your character will determine how long you stay. While celebrities like Clark continue to, the Chicago Sky situation wasn't just uncomfortable. Players were actually avoiding being in the same room as Carter. Rising Carter's pattern of burning bridges goes deeper than anyone knew, and it turns out that her own teammates were the ones holding the matches this time. Consider how toxic a locker room can get before players are telling management it's either her or us before a season even starts.
I mean, look, maybe she's part of the culture problem. But that's very interesting.
The truth of what transpired in that Sky locker room is slowly emerging, and it's far worse than anyone could have predicted. According to some close to the squad, Carter's presence caused the atmosphere to become so uncomfortably tight that insiders said it was so poisonous you could cut it with a knife. Not only were the coaches irritated by her challenging behavior, but Carter's teammates were also actively working to have her taken off the roster.
This is quote, Kennedy had an incredible season for us last year, Tagliacca said in a statement provided to the Sun-Times. She's extremely talented and is a player that can impact the game at the highest level in our league. We absolutely appreciate all she did for our team last year. However, we've made changes to our staff and we'll make changes to our roster. Those changes impact Kennedy's fit on the team, so we wanted to give her the best opportunity as a free agent.
The situation worsened to the point where teammates would physically avoid Carter whispering in corners whenever she entered a room. One insider even compared the locker room atmosphere to a virus infecting a once close-knit team, illustrating how bad things had gotten behind closed doors. Can you imagine walking into your workplace and feeling that level of tension every single day? That's exactly what Sky players were dealing with.
Have we ever seen a player this talented? A player this talented be out of a league? Genuinely, I don't think we have. Off the top of my head, I can't remember a player who was top 10 be out of the league without doing something crazy. Like, for example, like Michael Ray Richardson, who broke the 3-strike rule for doing drugs back in the day.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. In what may have been the most visible demonstration of how shattered relationships had become, Angel Reese, the player who many saw as Carter's partner in crime on the court, completely unfollowed Carter on social media. While you might consider that to be petty drama, in the WNBA today, that's the equivalent of standing on a mountaintop with a megaphone and declaring our relationship is over.
A lot of people was predicting that she's going to go to the Aces. I told y'all early on, I don't think no WNBA team is going to sign her. For Chicago to get rid of her and not get nothing speak volumes. That's how bad they wanted her gone. That sets the tone in her free agency to let them know we don't care about her. We're just going to release her. We don't want nothing for her. She got to go.
This social networking platform coworker divorce didn't occur after the season ended or after the Clark incident. Rather, it occurred while they were still playing together. Have you ever witnessed anything like that? A star player publicly severing ties with a teammate in the middle of a season was so unbearable that several Sky players weren't just whining. They were reportedly giving management an ultimatum: Carter leaves or we do. They made it clear that they wouldn't return the following season if she stayed on the roster, which put the Sky front office in the impossible position of having to keep one problematic player or lose several important contributors.
When Tyler Marsh did the press conference, he talked about Angel Reese, he talked about Cardoso, who I think is going to be a star in the WNBA, but he did not really mention Chennedy Carter at all, and that raised a lot of eyebrows. Now, Marina Mabrey, she's already flown the coop on this team, and it was quote-unquote because of culture.
During a press conference prior to the Clark incident, Sky chairman Tyler Marsh talked extensively about securing the team's future around Angel Reese and Cami Cardew. However, he made a telling omission. He made no mention of Carter. In professional sports, when management stops involving you and future plans during press conferences, it's essentially the same as changing the locks on your locker. The Clark push wasn't the start of Carter's issues in Chicago. Rather, it was the last, highly visible straw. By that time, her teammates had already moved on mentally without her, and the locker room wasn't just split. It had completely broken apart, with Carter alone on one side and almost everyone else on the other.
So a lot of people, including myself, are wondering, is she worth the risk now? There is speculation that the Aces might take her, but the Aces do not have a lot of cap room, and Chennedy is kind of standing hard on her value, and she is saying she won't come off the bench. She does not want to come back on a veteran minimum salary, but I just don't know how much wiggle room she has with her off-court behavior.
Impact extends well beyond her on-court prowess. She is attracting new fans to women's basketball and converting casual viewers into devoted supporters, as seen by the fact that this season, over 600,000 spectators are anticipated to attend Indiana Fever games, breaking previous attendance records. Arenas are filling up more quickly than ever, and Clark put a stop to the old jokes about WNBA jersey sales. The last time attendance was close was in 1999, when there were just over 400,000.
So if you look at this little chart right here, the Fever will have over 600,000 fans in attendance total this year. And the second best to that was in 1999 with the Washington Mystics at just over 400,000. So the Fever are going to account for over 200,000 more fans this year to their games than any other team, not only this year in 2024. You can see the Liberty are third on this list, and the Liberty are third, fourth, and fifth on this list. But those are the only two teams that are in 2024. The other highest attendance records are from 1999, 1998, and 2001. That is crazy.
Sales of regular season gear have increased by over 500% compared to the previous year, while Clark's jersey is selling out more quickly than free tacos at a basketball game because of her player merchandise, which has increased by 1,000%. That isn't a typo. These kinds of figures demonstrate how drastically Clark is altering the game.
The top-selling WNBA player merch, Caitlyn Clark, #1 in jersey sales, Angel Reese 2, Sabrina 3,
is not only having an effect on the court, but she is also completely altering the discourse surrounding women's basketball. Once ignored sports talk shows are now devoted entire parts to the WNBA's performances, and social media explodes with her highlights following each game.
And wherever she goes, ratings follow. The WNBA draft, the doubleheader of the open NBA season, ratings. I'm going to remind y'all that in the 28-year history of the WNBA, only 9 players in the league's history have eclipsed on-court earnings of $1 million.
Beyond her influence on the court, Clark is changing the way that people talk about women's basketball. Previously uninterested sports talk shows now feature the WNBA on Prime, and her highlights from every game take over social media.
So yes, the WNBA was growing before Caitlyn Clark. Make that abundantly clear. But it was growing incrementally compared to the exponential growth you're seeing now. And this is just data. This is just objective facts. Be mad with data. Please do not be mad at me.
Carter's skill on the court is comparable to that of Chennedy. The WNBA's stance is crystal clear. Team performance now surpasses individual skill. When an organization determines that a player's talent isn't worth the disruption they bring, it sends a strong message throughout the league. What makes this situation truly unprecedented is that no team is willing to take a chance on someone with Carter's undeniable abilities. Harmony. This moment represents a fundamental shift in professional basketball where character and culture have become non-negotiable priorities. Similar situations have occurred in the basketball community before Michael Ray Richardson was banned by the NBA for substance abuse, but went on to achieve success abroad. At this point in her career, Carter must decide whether to reestablish her image abroad before any American team will consider her again, rather than whether she will find another WBA team. The league has changed and made it apparent that some bridges that have burned down are difficult to rebuild.